What's up, Taiwan? I'm Sandy Chu with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Russian and Chinese warships are gathering at a port in Guangdong in China's south ahead of joint naval exercises. China says the drills, called Joint Sea 2024, will run through mid-July and demonstrate the two countries' resolve and maritime security capabilities. The exercises were announced the day after the NATO summit in Washington, D.C., where member states called the Russia-China strategic partnership a cause for great concern. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz says a deal between the EU and China over tariffs on electric vehicles is still possible. His comments followed reports that Germany plans to opt out of an EU vote on Monday to impose up to 37% tariffs on Chinese EV imports. The EU accuses China of unfairly subsidizing its EV companies, resulting in artificially low prices. Germany, the most vocal critic of the tariffs in the EU, is concerned that these measures will harm its own auto exports to China. The search is on for more than 60 people missing after a landslide swept two buses into a river in Nepal. At least 3 passengers escaped before their vehicles were carried away by surging waters. A team of over 500 is working to locate survivors. Rescue efforts are hampered by recent heavy downpours feeding the river. Landslides and flooding caused by monsoon rains have killed more than 90 people in Nepal since mid-June. The government-backed Industrial Technology Research Institute is celebrating its 51st anniversary this month. Leslie Liao takes an in-depth look at the organization that helped transform Taiwan into a high-tech economy.
This is the birthplace of the world's largest chip maker, TSMC. The Industrial Technology Research Institute, or ITRI. Founded in 1973, ITRI is a government-sponsored nonprofit organization. The institute was designed to accelerate Taiwan's technological advancement and help transform the country's economy from labor-intensive low-output manufacturing to a global tech leader.
Back in the 70s, Taiwan was under a so-called planned economy. The kind of planned step by step, like introduce the semiconductor into Taiwan and introduce certain technology, the PC, the ICT technology, etc. So ITRI played a very important role to help.
Today, Taiwan is known globally as a semiconductor powerhouse. Much of that reputation is thanks to ITRI, as it was the organization that first introduced the chip industry to Taiwan.
Without ITRI, Taiwan's semiconductor industry would have never developed into the giant it is today. It's pretty easy to say, well, it was the seed of that industry, but I think it was more than the seed, because what it did was it really developed and guided a steady flow of engineers coming out of the Taiwan's educational system into this industry.
TSMC, now the world leader in advanced chip making, was spun off from ITRI. TSMC founder Morris Chang once served as ITRI's head, where he received government assistance to establish the company. Without ITRI, there would be no TSMC.
During this time, also kind of created a so-called OEM, the foundry business model, which is a TSMC was formed.
Today, ITRI employs over 6,000 people with campuses, labs, and offices all over Taiwan and around the world. And its main job is innovation. The scope of ITRI's research is vast. It not only develops high-tech components like semiconductors and computers, but it also does communications equipment, composite materials like carbon fiber for bike frames, sporting equipment, and luggage bags, as well as textiles. And it's even dabbled in things like engines that go into automobiles. And the list goes on. ITRI also works on biomedical, energy, green, and robot technologies. One of ITRI's main missions now is to service Taiwan's many industries. Whenever companies run into technical or operational problems, they can turn to ITRI for help. If ITRI doesn't have a solution handy, the institute can help research ways to get around issues so that Taiwan's enterprises have an easier time doing business.
For the small and medium-sized industry, they particularly need our help because they don't do a longer-term research, but they need to have, they may have some problem need to be solved.
For example, as global companies make a push to become more eco-friendly, E-Tree has helped Taiwan's companies meet sustainability targets so that they can continue working with their international partners.
The purpose is just partially sponsored by the government, but we do E-Tree does the research to help the Taiwan's industry to grow.
This year, E-Tree is marking its 51st anniversary. The science that takes place here has been a driver for Taiwan's economy and industry over the past half-century, and the Institute hopes to sustain Taiwan's innovative prowess well into the future. Devin Tsai, Scott Huang, and Leslie Liao in Hsinchu for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwanese travelers will soon be able to enjoy longer vacations in Thailand. Starting Monday, Taiwanese citizens can visit Thailand for 60 days without a visa, up from 30. Thailand is a popular destination for Taiwanese holidaymakers. The Thai government is expanding its visa-free entry program, hoping to revive its tourism sector and boost its economy. A plan to loosen rules on hiring migrant workers as caregivers is getting a mixed reaction. While some people welcome it, others worry it will leave patients with serious disabilities behind. John Van Triest reports.
Over 200,000 Southeast Asian caregivers are in Taiwan to help those who can't live on their own, either because of age or disability. And there could soon be many more of them on the way. This week, the Ministry of Labor announced changes to the rules on who qualifies to employ migrant workers. In addition to people over 80 and people in rural areas with histories of long hospital stays, individuals who've been permanently incapacitated can now apply without having to go through a special doctor's evaluation. These changes are meant to take effect in September. An estimated 55,000 people who can't care for themselves are expected to benefit. But while different groups acknowledge the need for more access to care, views on these rule changes are split. The concern is whether caregivers who come to Taiwan for these thousands of potential jobs will be selective about what positions they take, favoring employers with less severe conditions. Some believe the changes ease pressure on an aging society, and that where there's a demand for care, there will be someone to fill it.
为什么医师评估巴氏健保都有蛮大的一个压力，是因为说太多的家庭都有需要了，所以我想这个本身并不是排挤效应，而是说整体我们照顾的需求量太大。
But others worry that without government intervention, those who need care the most won't be able to find a caregiver.
放宽之后，要怎么去让看护工会愿意待在所谓的重症或者是照护需求比较高的地方？那我们是建议是以不同工不同酬，给薪要有差别。
Some who hire caregivers see things differently still. They say the rules need to be loosened even further, with far fewer bureaucratic hoops to qualify and far more freedom to choose. Heidi Zhang, whose parents are both ill, is one of them. She's the head of an organization that hires caregivers for people's relatives, and she says the way the hiring system works now is tough on families like hers.
You cannot forbid us to have the freedom to choose the way we are going to have the care. The government shouldn't say, hey, you are not qualified. You are less than 80 years old. You can only hire a local caregiver for 1 hour. And those who is in certain condition that you can hire a caregiver, you should give all the option to the people.
Zhang says the speed at which Taiwan's population is aging means the country can't afford to wait to open up further. She says this is the way to make sure a growing need is met, and that older people in particular have a dignified end to their lives. Patrick Chen and John Van Triest for TaiwanPlus.
Japan has one of the oldest populations in the world, and as life expectancy continues to rise and the country's birth rate falls, businesses are looking at how they can capitalize on this shift. Wesley Lewis reports.
Diaper makers in Japan have a growing customer base, adults. As the country's birth rate plummets to record lows and society ages, the industry has turned its focus away from babies and has set its sights on catering to senior citizens.
日本では大人用の紙おむつの市場が大きくなってまして、おかげさまで私たちが作っている紙おむつを作る量も年々増えていっています。また、使うお客さん、ユーザーさんが増えてきた背景もありまして、いろんな種類の紙おむつを作るようになっています。
Surveys conducted by diaper manufacturers show that their adult customers like how their products are being marketed to them.
調査をしたことがあるんですね。その時に皆さんすごいびっくりされてたんですよ。うわって言って、これだったら買おうと思うと、これだったら買って家に持って帰る時も恥ずかしくない。このパンツを履いてだったらいつもの趣味の釣りに行けるよとか、 ゴルフに行けるよとか、これを履いて銀座のショッピングにも行けるよ。
In 2023, around 29% of Japan's population was over the age of 65. Industry insiders say revenue from adult diapers is now nearly double that of baby diapers, and demand is only expected to grow.
大人用のおむつっていう市場に関しましては、まだ今後も市場拡大が期待できますので、そこに対してのその社内の資源配分、いろんな資源ありますけど、こういうものをもう少し拡大していこうというような戦略で考えております。
Similarly, Taiwan is also inching towards becoming a super-aged society by 2025, when more than a fifth of the population will be 65 and older. And as Japan's demographic shift continues to change the country's diaper business, manufacturers in Taiwan can expect to follow suit. Kama Shu and Wesley Lewis for TaiwanPlus.
Lawmakers have approved harsher penalties for buying or possessing child pornography. The new rules allow for fines of up to $30,000 and up to 7 years in prison. The law aims to curb the production and sale of sexually explicit content of minors. There has been a push for tougher penalties after actor and TV host Mickey Huang received 2 years deferred prosecution after being indicted for possessing child pornography. Taiwan's legislature has passed sweeping anti-fraud regulations. The law increases penalties for high-value fraud and gives financial institutions and telecommunication companies new powers and responsibilities for reporting suspicious activity. People arrested in fraud cases involving sums of over $3 million will face up to 12 years in prison and fines of up to $9.2 million. It's the breeding season for birds in Taiwan. It's also the busy season for local wildlife rescuers taking care of abandoned hatchlings. I went to a wildlife hospital in eastern Taiwan to find out how. Every day, starting at 8 in the morning, the staff here at Wild One Wildlife Rescue Center get to work. It's the only non-profit wildlife rescue and recovery center in eastern Taiwan, where the majority of the country's wildlife resides. The staff cleans up after, checks up on, and feeds the animals here, which are mostly birds right now, as it's currently breeding season. Most cases the center gets now are baby birds that fell out of their nests. One concerned citizen brings in a baby nightingale that ended up in their yard and was mauled by their family dog.
因为昨天就在我们家发现一只夜莺的雏鸟，然后想说，我们没办法自己照顾，然后就上网去查了一下台东地区有没有相关的动保协会这样子，刚好就有搜寻到这个地方。
Unfortunately, the birdling didn't survive. Its wounds were too severe, and it had to be put down.
它的右边的翅膀已经是粉碎性的骨折了，然后伤口的状态不是很新鲜，然后因为后续可能会有严重感染的风险。
Not all rescued nestlings have to be put down, thanks to the center's dedicated staff, who go above and beyond to help the injured birds. To help these birds return to the wild successfully, the staff here dress up in this outfit to ensure that the birds do not become too familiar with them. This is to make sure that they still have a healthy wariness of people and will avoid them after they are released. Over the last 3 months, Wild One has received almost 80 injured baby birds. About half of them don't make it. Just under 20% have returned to the wild, and the rest are still in treatment. Though the center is seeing more and more cases, it's not necessarily because more birds are getting hurt. Wild One has hosted hundreds of activities to better educate the public on how to handle injured wild animals and where to bring them. With the help of locals, wild animals in eastern Taiwan have a better chance of survival and of returning to the wild. Alex Chen and Sunny Chi in Taidong for TaiwanPlus. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally, check out this exhibition in Hong Kong of the popular Japanese manga and anime character Doraemon. I'm Sunny Chi, take care and see you next time.